Life, sometimes it's like a big performance, and you just think you have to please everyone in the audience. You try to smile brightly, nod a lot, and always be ready to do anything to get applause. But then, when night falls, the lights go out, you find yourself empty, exhausted, and alone in your own room. You ask yourself, who am I living for? Have I lost myself? That feeling, I understand, is truly heavy and tiring. It's the burden of what's called people-pleasing. It makes you forget that the most important thing isn't pleasing everyone, but finding yourself again and living true to who you really are. When you turn yourself into an emotional sponge. Have you ever felt like a giant sponge, always trying to soak up every emotion, every request, every expectation from others? You're afraid of making someone sad, afraid of rejection, afraid of being seen as selfish. So, you accept favors that are beyond your capacity. Listen to endless troubles even when you're exhausted, or change your plans just because someone frowned. And then, what happens to a sponge when it absorbs too much water? It becomes heavy, can't absorb anymore, and finally it starts to leak, leaking its own exhaustion, its own disappointment. This people-pleasing syndrome isn't just a small habit. It digs deep into how you define your self-worth. You believe your value is measured by approval and affection from the outside. The more people who like you, the more people who are satisfied, the more valuable you feel. This creates a toxic cycle. The more you try to please, the more you lose yourself, and the more vulnerable you become when you don't get that approval. You become a faded version of yourself, someone always trying to wear an ill-fitting outfit just to please others. You lose your own voice, your personal interests, and gradually, you no longer recognize who you are. Echoes of fear. If I don't please them, they'll abandon me. Why do we fall so easily into the trap of people-pleasing? Often, the root of this syndrome lies deep in unconscious fears. Fear of rejection or abandonment. Perhaps in the past, you experienced rejection, isolation, or the feeling of being left out. That pain is deeply etched in your mind, making you believe you always have to be pleasant and useful to be kept around. You're afraid that if you say no, if you show disagreement, others will turn away. Intense need for love and approval. Everyone wants to be loved. But for people pleasers, this need becomes so overwhelming that they're willing to trade their true selves for it. They see others' approval as a temporary sedative for their inner insecurity. Lack of self-esteem and intrinsic worth. When you don't believe in your own worth, you'll seek it from outside. You believe that your usefulness to others will give you value. So, you constantly try to earn points, doing many things for others to feel useful, only to find yourself empty again. Fear of conflict and disappointing others. You hate the feeling of tension, confrontation. You want everything to be smooth and harmonious. So, instead of facing disagreement, you choose to compromise, going along with others' wishes to avoid any potential conflict. But this false peace often comes with chaos within your own soul. These fears are not your fault. They are natural human reactions. But when they control your life, they prevent you from living an authentic and fulfilling life, finding yourself again. Stopping the people-pleasing performance. The journey to escape people-pleasing syndrome is a journey to rediscover yourself. It's a process that requires courage, patience, and self-compassion. Identify the sponge within you. The first step is awareness. When you feel a request is making you heavy or uncomfortable, stop. Ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Does it align with my values and energy right now? Just recognizing that feeling is half the battle. Practice saying no gently. This is the most important skill. You don't need to over-explain or feel guilty. A simple, polite, yet firm no is enough. For example, thanks for the invitation, but I can't make it. Or, I'd love to help, but I have other priorities right now. People who truly respect you will understand. Those who don't, perhaps they're used to you always saying yes. And now is the time they need to learn to respect your boundaries. Remember, every time you say no to something that doesn't fit, you're saying yes to yourself, to your energy and peace. Build healthy boundaries. Boundaries aren't meant to push people away, but to protect your space and energy. Clearly define what you accept and don't accept in relationships, at work, and in your personal life. For example, don't answer work messages after hours. Don't let someone make you feel guilty. Don't engage in negative conversations. Share your boundaries calmly and clearly. It might be difficult at first, but gradually, people will learn to respect them. Seek approval from within. Redirect your search for value from external sources to internal ones. Instead of waiting for compliments, recognition from others. Learn to praise and acknowledge your own efforts. Be proud of small successes, accept your flaws, and be grateful for what you have. True self-esteem doesn't come from others' approval, but from unconditional self-acceptance and self-love. You are enough, even when you're not perfect. Prioritize yourself. This isn't selfish, it's necessary. Make time for personal interests, activities that help you recharge, whether it's reading, listening to music, taking a walk, or meditating. When you take good care of yourself, you'll have more energy, a clearer mind, and from there, you can interact with the world more positively. Think about charging your phone. If you keep using it without charging, it will run out. So will you. Becoming the real you, the power of authenticity. When you start to break free from people-pleasing syndrome, you'll see a magical change. You'll no longer feel like you have to play a role. You're allowed to be yourself, with all your strengths and weaknesses. This doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. On the contrary, it means you're learning to love more wisely. True love doesn't demand exhausting self-sacrifice, but mutual respect. When you respect yourself, you will attract people who also respect you. The relationships you build from authenticity, from daring to be yourself, will be much stronger. People who truly love you won't want you to strain yourself, to lose yourself, to please them. They will love you for who you really are, loving the things that make you unique and different. You'll feel lighter, more peaceful. The burden of others' expectations will be lifted. You can freely pursue your passions, speak your true thoughts, and live a meaningful life on your own terms. That is the power of authenticity. If you're reading these lines and your heart stirs slightly, perhaps it's time to pause for a moment. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and whisper to yourself, I don't need to please everyone. I have the right to be myself. Start today by letting go of the burden of external expectations. Grant yourself the kindness, compassion, and respect you always deserve. You are much stronger than you think. Believe in yourself. And remember, every small step on this journey, every time you dare to say no, every time you choose to prioritize yourself, is a great victory of your own.